Iran and Israel have a long and complicated history. It is a story of deep mistrust and open hostility. The two nations have fundamentally different ideologies. Iran, since its Islamic revolution, has positioned itself against Israel's existence. Israel, in turn, views Iran's nuclear ambitions and support for groups like Hezbollah as a direct threat. This antagonism has fueled proxy conflicts and occasional flare-ups for decades. The recent escalation is not an isolated incident. It is rooted in this long-standing animosity. To understand the gravity of the current situation, one must look back at this history. From Iran's support for groups like Hamas and Hezbollah, to Israel's covert operations against Iran's nuclear program, both sides have engaged in a dangerous game of brinkmanship. This latest confrontation, however, represents a significant escalation. It marks the first time Iran has directly targeted Israeli military sites with ballistic missiles. This act has raised fears of a wider regional conflict, drawing in the United States and potentially destabilizing the entire Middle East. The immediate trigger for Iran's missile attack was a series of Israeli airstrikes in Syria. Israel, which rarely acknowledges its military operations in Syria, confirmed these strikes. They were aimed at Iranian-linked facilities, which Israel claimed were being used to funnel weapons to Hezbollah in Lebanon. These strikes were not unusual. Israel has carried out hundreds of airstrikes in Syria in recent years. They are part of Israel's ongoing campaign to prevent Iran from establishing a permanent military presence in Syria and to disrupt the flow of weapons to Hezbollah. However, these particular strikes were different. They resulted in significant casualties, including Iranian military personnel. This, according to some analysts, is what prompted Iran's unprecedented retaliation.
Yes, and these airstrikes, unlike many others, had a profound impact. The significant casualties among Iranian military personnel were a game changer. This escalation led to Iran's decision to retaliate in a manner we've not seen before, marking a pivotal moment in the ongoing conflict.
On October 1, 2024, Iran launched a barrage of ballistic missiles towards Israel. The missiles targeted Israeli military installations in the Golan Heights, a disputed territory that Israel captured from Syria in 1967. The attack marked a significant escalation in the conflict. It was the first time Iran had directly targeted Israeli territory with ballistic missiles. The attack, while causing minimal damage and no casualties, sent shockwaves through Israel and the international community. Iran claimed responsibility for the attack, framing it as retaliation for the Israeli airstrikes in Syria. This direct confrontation signaled a dangerous new phase in the conflict, raising the specter of a wider war in the region. Section 4. The world reacts. The international community reacted with alarm to Iran's missile attack. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, condemned the attack in the strongest terms. The U.S. reiterated its unwavering support for Israel's right to defend itself. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting to discuss the situation. While no formal resolution was passed, several countries called for restraint and de-escalation. The European Union urged both sides to avoid further actions that could lead to a wider conflict. The attack also sent ripples of anxiety through the Middle East. Countries in the region, already grappling with instability and conflict, feared being drawn into a war between Iran and Israel. The attack served as a stark reminder of the volatile geopolitical landscape of the Middle East. Section 5. The uncertain future.
The immediate aftermath of the missile attack has been marked by a tense calm. However, the underlying tensions remain, and the potential for further escalation is high.
The international community is watching closely, hoping to avert a wider conflict. However, with both sides seemingly entrenched in their positions, finding a diplomatic solution seems unlikely in the near future.
The big question now is whether this was a one-off event or the beginning of a new chapter in the long and bloody conflict between Iran and Israel. Only time will tell. One thing is clear: the stakes are higher than ever.